What if there was an island where time worked differently than the rest of the world? A place hidden from maps, untouched by normal rules of nature? Our story begins with a group of scientists and soldiers sent on a dangerous mission to this strange island. An island that holds secrets no one has ever escaped from. Once you step onto this land, there's no going back. From the outside, the island looks like any other. But the moment you land, something feels wrong. Clocks stop working, the sky changes colors, sounds echo from places that don't exist. Time loops, reality shifts. Even people begin to change. The movie starts with a lone pilot flying a helicopter toward the island. He was sent ahead to check the area, but as soon as he lands, he hears something outside. A whisper, a footstep. Scared, he pulls out his gun and walks toward the sound. On the ground, he sees something strange. A gun, but not just any gun. It's exactly like his. Same model, same scratches, same serial number. He stares at it, confused. How can there be two of the same weapon? Before he can react, someone attacks him from behind and kills him. The attacker, dressed like a soldier, grabs the pilot's bag and rushes to the helicopter. He takes off quickly, but just as the chopper rises into the sky, it smashes into something invisible. A powerful force field or dome surrounds the entire island. The helicopter explodes in flames. No one can leave. Now the story rewinds to a few days earlier. A voice narrates the truth. Many years ago, a secret pharmaceutical company discovered this island. They realized it was no ordinary place. Time passed differently here. People aged slower or sometimes faster. Gravity shifted, memories faded, strange creatures appeared, so they kept it a secret. No one outside the company knew about the island. For over 20 years, the company performed experiments here, on time, space, and even on human DNA. But 2 days ago, something went wrong. One of their experiments opened something, a rift, a tear in reality. And now there's a risk that this island could destroy not just itself, but the entire Earth. In panic, the company sends a final team of elite scientists and soldiers to the island. Their mission is simple: go in, fix the mistake, and then destroy the island forever. Now the story moves to San Francisco, a busy city in America. Here, an ex-military soldier named Addison arrives to meet a man named Chase. She's here to recruit him for a dangerous mission. Addison tells Chase that her company knows everything about him. His past, his military history, and even personal details. Chase was once in the army, but after one failed mission, he was kicked out. His name was even erased from the official records. It's like he never existed. That's exactly why Addison wants him. Her company is looking for people like Chase, people who don't officially exist anymore. Chase asks what the mission is. Addison explains, "You'll go to a secret island for a private company. The only job is to bring back the company owner's daughter, Stacy. In return, you'll be paid millions of dollars, enough to live comfortably for the rest of your life." Chase is confused. If it's just a rescue mission, why pay so much? But he doesn't ask too many questions. He needs the money badly, so he agrees. Next, Addison finds her second team member, Rusk. He's a skilled private investigator and an expert in martial arts. But Rusk has a painful past. His family died in an accident, and since then, he only takes on dangerous missions. When Addison offers him the job and tells him about the huge reward, Rusk also agrees to join. The next day, the full team gathers at a private airbase. By now, Addison has recruited 6 members, including Chase and Rusk. She begins the mission briefing. "There are 2 research stations on the island," she says. "One is in the north and one is in the south. We'll land in the middle of the island by helicopter. Then we'll split into 2 teams to search both locations. Team South, Addison, Chase, and Dex, a survival expert. Team North, Rusk, Colt, a heavy weapons guy, and Tag, a tech and drone specialist. They don't know which station Stacy is being held in, so both teams will search their assigned areas. Once they find her, they'll return to the center where the helicopter and pilot will be waiting." Before the mission began, Tag sat alone, quietly looking at a photo of his daughter. After his wife passed away, his daughter became his whole world. But now she's sick with a serious illness. The treatment is extremely expensive, and Tag doesn't have that kind of money. That's why he agreed to this mission. He's doing it for her. Later, as all 6 team members gathered, they started talking. That's when they noticed something strange. None of them had any family left. No parents, no partners, no one waiting for them. It made them wonder, was this just a coincidence? Or did the company choose them for a reason? There's a secret behind this mission, but they don't know it yet. Soon, at the scheduled time, the team boarded a helicopter and flew toward the island. After a 15-hour flight, they finally arrived. Once they landed, the team split into 2 groups, just like they had planned. Addison, Chase, and Dex started heading south, but not long into their walk, they came across something terrifying. Dead bodies scattered across the ground. These people had been killed in horrible ways, torn apart as if some wild creature had attacked them. The team moved forward cautiously, weapons ready. Addison tried to contact the other group using her radio radio to warn them, but nothing worked. The radios were completely dead. Dex pulled out his notebook and started writing things down. He always makes notes during missions, especially when something feels wrong. This place definitely felt wrong. Chase looked around and spoke to Addison. "Tell me again, why would a company pay millions for a simple rescue mission?" He was starting to think the mission wasn't what they were told. There was more going on here, something the company had kept secret. Meanwhile, the other team, Rusk, Tag, and Colt, were moving through the jungle toward the north. Suddenly, Rusk saw something strange, a rope tied to a tree. It looked old, but the knot was familiar. He felt like he had tied it himself. "That's weird," he said. "I swear I've done this before." But he shook off the feeling and kept moving. Soon they also noticed the radios weren't working anymore. No contact with the other team. Back in the south, Addison's group kept finding more and more dead bodies. No one knew how they had died. A bit farther ahead, they found an abandoned camp. Addison set up her portable communication device there and tried to boost the signal to reach the others. Still, nothing. No connection at all. Then Dex found something shocking. He picked up a watch from a body nearby, and when he looked at it closely, he realized it was the exact same limited edition watch he was wearing. Same brand, same design, same scratches. It didn't make sense. Chase looked at it and said, "It could just be a weird coincidence. Don't think too much about it." Besides, the body was badly damaged. The face was unrecognizable, probably attacked by an animal. They couldn't tell who the person was. While both teams were on their way to explore the island, they had told the pilot to wait near the helicopter and not leave until they returned. But suddenly, the pilot began to hear strange noises coming from the jungle nearby. This takes us back to the same scene from the beginning of the story. This time, we finally learned the truth. The person who attacked the pilot wasn't normal. He was a mutated man, twisted and changed by something unknown on the island. After killing the pilot, the mutated man tried to escape in the helicopter. But as soon as the helicopter lifted off and flew into the sky, it hit an invisible barrier in the air and exploded in a huge blast. This confirmed the worst. No one can escape this island. Meanwhile, back at the camp, either Tag or Dex heard a sound nearby. When they went to check, they were shocked to find a man still alive. He introduced himself as Dr. Young. He said he had arrived earlier that same morning with his research team, but when they got there, everything was already destroyed. One by one, his team members were killed by something mysterious. Addison and the others were confused. "No other team was supposed to be here before us," she said, but Dr. Young insisted it was true. Then they asked him about Stacy, the girl they were sent to rescue. When Dr. Young heard her name, his face changed. "Come with me," he said. He led them through the forest to an abandoned building. There they found a dead body lying on the floor. The face was badly damaged, but it was clear it was Stacy. She was already dead. Everyone stood silently in shock. The person they came to save was gone. Addison looked at the others. "Will we even get paid now?" she asked quietly. No one had the answer. Still, they decided to take Stacy's body back with them as proof. It was already getting dark, and they were far from the helicopter. So the team agreed to stay the night at the camp and leave in the morning. They still couldn't contact the other team to tell them what had happened. The mission was over, and they didn't even know it yet. Dr. Young, on the other hand, seemed relieved. "At least I'm not alone anymore," he said. "Now I can leave with you." But something very strange happened next. Dex was writing in his diary when Dr. Young noticed it and said, "Wait, I've seen that before." Dr. Young reached into his bag and pulled out another diary, an exact copy of Dex's. Everyone gathered around, shocked. The two diaries looked completely the same. Same cover, same marks, same handwriting. But what shocked them most was what was written inside the second diary. It described the events of the next day, things that hadn't happened yet, written in Dex's exact handwriting. Dex stared at it, confused. "But I only arrived here today. How could this exist?" Nobody could explain it. The island was getting stranger and more mysterious by the hour. What was happening here? Meanwhile, in another part of the island, the second team, Rusk, Colt, and Tag, had also stopped for the night. They built a small fire and decided to rest, keeping their weapons close. But just as they were settling in, they heard a strange noise coming from the dark jungle. Instantly alert, they grabbed their guns, ready for anything. Then, out of nowhere, something grabbed Tag from behind and started dragging him away. He struggled, trying to fight it, and when he turned around, he finally saw what it was, a huge, monstrous creature. Now Tag understood who had torn apart all those bodies they'd seen earlier. The creature raised its claws, ready to kill Tag, when Rusk arrived just in time, shooting the beast and saving him. But they weren't safe yet. As Rusk helped Tag to his feet, Colt was left alone a few steps away. Suddenly, another creature appeared and attacked him. But this one was even stranger. It looked exactly like Colt. Same face, same clothes, same everything. Before Colt could react, the creature, his own double, stabbed him and killed him right there. Rusk and Tag could do nothing but watch in shock. Now questions were rising fast. Where did this second version of Colt come from? What were these creatures? Why were duplicate versions of their gear, diaries, and even people appearing on the island? Something wasn't right. Back at the southern camp, Addison's team was reading Dex's second diary, the one that somehow described events that hadn't happened yet. In it was written that Stacy, who they found dead yesterday, comes back to life the next morning. Everyone thought it was impossible, but then when they woke up the next day, Stacy was alive. She was standing there in front of them, breathing, talking. Addison and the team were stunned. They had checked her body. She had been dead, but now she was alive, without a single wound. On the other side of the island, Rusk and Tag, now the only survivors from their team, finally reached the North Camp. It was completely abandoned, equipment scattered, no signs of life. Rusk tried using the camp's old walkie-talkie system, and this time, by luck, Addison had the second walkie-talkie in her camp. Finally, a connection. Rusk's voice came through. "There are mutants on this island. Something happened here. Colt is dead. These things, they look like us." Addison replied with shocking news of her own. "We found Stacy dead yesterday, but she came back alive this morning." Both teams realized now this island was far beyond what they were told. Outside the tent, Stacy sat with Dex, explaining what she remembered. "I came here with my research team 3 days ago," she said. "One of our experiments went wrong. People started mutating, attacking each other. We tried to escape, but we found out we were trapped. No one can leave the island." Dex asked her how she survived. Stacy looked confused. "I didn't," she said quietly. "A mutant killed me last night. I remember it clearly, but this morning, I woke up, alive. I don't know how." Back at the camp, Dr. Young had been quietly reading Dex's mysterious second diary, the one filled with events from the future. After going through the entire thing, he finally turned to Addison and the rest of the team. His face was serious. "I understand now," he said. "I know what's happening on this island." Everyone gathered around listening closely. Dr. Young took a deep breath and began to explain. "This island is surrounded by wormholes, tears in time. Because of that, time doesn't move normally here. Time on this island runs straight for exactly 72 hours, 3 days. After that, it resets. Everything starts over from the beginning." The team stared at him, stunned. "Each time the loop resets," he continued, "some events from the previous loop leak into the next one. That's why you've been finding strange things. Dex's extra watch, the future diary, the rope Rusk remembered tying, these were all left behind by other versions of yourselves." The truth hit them like a wave. They had been here before, and not just once. Every 3 days, a new version of Addison and her team arrives on the island, thinking it's their first time, but it's not. They've been stuck in a time loop, reliving the same mission, the same dangers, again and again. Chase asked the next question, his voice tense. "Then where are all the other versions of us?" Dr. Young looked down. "Most of them are dead. I've seen the bodies, scattered all over the island. Their faces were destroyed, so no one could recognize them. But they were you, your past versions." The team went silent. Dr. Young continued, "But not all of them died. Some mutated. According to the diary, if a person spends more than 3 days on this island, something inside them starts to change. Their mind, their body, they lose control. That means many of those mutants you've been fighting were once your past selves, the ones who survived but changed." Dex's voice shook as he whispered, "So this whole island is stuck in a loop, and we're stuck with it." Dr. Young nodded slowly. "A never-ending cycle. It resets every 72 hours. The team always arrives, the mission always begins, but no one ever escapes." The truth sank in. They weren't just trapped on an island. They were trapped in time. Now fear crept over everyone's faces, because this meant none of their past versions ever made it out. They all either died or turned into something else, and before anyone could speak, they heard it, growling, screaming, footsteps, the sound of dozens of mutants approaching from the forest. They were surrounding the camp, coming to attack. While Russ and Tag were hearing Dr. Young's explanation over the radio, mutants attacked them too. To their horror, they realized these creatures were mutated versions of themselves, proof that everything in Dex's future diary was true. Fighting their own twisted selves was disturbing, but they had no choice. They fought back. Meanwhile, Addison's group was also under attack by mutant versions of themselves. Chase froze, unable to shoot at a creature that looked like him, but Addison reminded him, "They're not us anymore. We have to survive." Finally, they managed to kill the mutants by aiming for the head. Russ and Tag also survived the first wave, but most of their ammo was gone, and they knew this was just the beginning. With the endless time loop, more mutant versions were bound to appear. Back at camp, something even worse happened. Stacy, the girl they thought they had rescued, started mutating. The experiment had affected her too. She attacked Dex, and although Chase shot her, it was too late. Dex was killed. By the end of the day, they had spent hours fighting just to stay alive. Finally, Russ managed to contact the company's base outside the island. He told them the helicopter had been destroyed and lied, saying they still had had Stacy alive so they would send a rescue team. But what he didn't know was the company already knew everything. They knew Stacy was dead. They knew the island had a 3-day time loop, and they had sent the team on purpose, using them as test subjects. That's why from the start, none of the team members had any family. The company had chosen people who wouldn't be missed, and they had tempted them with a big money offer, so no one would say no. Back at the company's secret base, one final truth is revealed. In just 12 hours, the company plans to bomb the entire island to make sure the dangerous mutations never escape into the outside world. That's why they sent this team one last time. The mission was never about rescue. It was about using them as a final experiment before wiping the island out completely. Now, only 5 team members are left alive, and they must find a way to escape on their own before the island is destroyed. Russ and Tag send a radio message to Addison, Chase, and Dr. Young, who are in another part of the island. They tell them everything, but there's a problem. The helicopter is destroyed, and the island is sealed by an invisible barrier in the sky. They can't fly out. As everyone starts to lose hope, Russ remembers something strange. Since arriving, he's been having visions, glimpses of events that hadn't happened yet. He thought it was just deja vu, but now he realizes the truth. Because time runs backward on this island, he's been seeing memories of the future. One of those visions showed a small boat hidden near the edge of the island, their only way out. Everyone now understands. Time on the island is reversed, which is why Russ can remember the future. So as soon as morning comes, both teams start heading toward the same spot where Russ saw the boat in his vision. Addison's team is closer to the location, so they move quickly to reach the boat first and wait for Russ and Tag to catch up. Once reunited, the plan is clear. Escape by sea before the bombs fall. They have just 12 hours left, and this time, there's no second chance. Russ's future vision turns out to be right. Addison, Chase, and Dr. Young find the boat just where he saw it. Dr. Young checks it and confirms the fuel tank is full. They can reach the main city as long as there's no ocean storm, but Russ and Tag are still far away, fighting their way through mutants. Low on bullets and exhausted from non-stop battles, they're now forced to fight hand-to-hand against their stronger, mutated versions. Despite fighting bravely, Tag is killed by his mutant double. With a heavy heart, Russ promises to find and protect Tag's daughter if he escapes. But just then, a mutated version of Russ appears, aiming a gun at him. All hope seems lost until Chase arrives just in time, shooting the mutant and saving Russ. But as they try to escape, Russ steps on a trap. A wooden spike pierces his stomach. He's too injured to move. Suddenly, after 12 hours pass, bombs begin to explode across the island. Knowing he won't survive, Russ gives Chase his blessing to leave him behind. Save yourself. Get out. That's all that matters now. Chase gives Russ his gun, says goodbye, and runs toward the boat, the last chance to escape. Meanwhile, out on the boat, Dr. Young sees the bombs going off across the island. He turns to Addison and says, "We have to go. We can't wait for Chase anymore." But Addison refuses. Not without Chase. Not without Russ. Desperate, Dr. Young knocks Addison unconscious and starts the boat himself, trying to escape alone. Just then, Chase reaches the shore, sprinting with everything he has left. At the very last second, he jumps into the water and grabs onto the rope at the back of the boat. At the same time, Addison wakes up, only to see something terrifying. Dr. Young has started mutating. He had been on the island the longest, and now, after 3 full days, the transformation has begun. With glowing eyes and twisted features, he lunges at Addison, ready to kill. But just before he strikes, a final gunshot echoes. It's Russ. With his last breath, Russ takes one final shot from the burning island and saves Addison's life just before being consumed by the blast. Now, only Chase and Addison remain on the boat, alive, but surrounded by wreckage and fire. They don't know if they'll make it out. "Do you think we can escape the wormhole?" Chase asks. "I don't know," Addison says, "but we have to try." They hold their breath as the boat pushes forward, through the same space where the helicopter once failed. But this time, the final explosion on the island disrupts the wormholes, creating a brief opening, a safe passage. And finally, after all the horror, betrayal, and sacrifice, Chase and Addison escape the island. Everyone else, Dex, Tag, Russ, even Stacy, was lost. But their sacrifices meant 2 survivors made it out. And with that, the movie ends on a bittersweet but hopeful note. So, how did you like this story? If you enjoyed this deep, emotional sci-fi adventure, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps me bring you more underrated, unseen cleanup movies just like this. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.